Hi there, guys. God bless each and every one of you. A little bit of an apologies before we begin. Yesterday, I was a little bit run behind schedule as such, and so I decided to take my day off yesterday as opposed to today. So just want to sort of like say my bad for that if you were waiting there for us to come on. But here we go today, guys. Going to be looking at an article. Trump and Starmer signed the US-UK tech prosperity deal. Going to be looking into this. It is not good what we're going to be exploring when this comes to the tech prosperity deal. This is in relation to the AI sort of like healthcare sort of drive that's being pushed there, quantum computing, as well as nuclear projects. And when these US firms that are literally sort of like in this particular deal, the likes of Microsoft, BlackRock, OpenAI, and the like, that is something that we might want to mark and avoid. So we're going to be looking at some of these recent developments as Trump has been over here meeting King Charles, etc. Also going to be looking at some other articles as well, guys. Article coming out, should have really led with this one really, but I didn't really want to. Want you to sort of like look at things from a different angle. Here you go. ISIS calls for the slaughter of Christians and Jews. Well, ISIS is back again making headlines after calling for the slaughter of Christians and Jews in America, Europe, and the world. A spokesman for the terror group has ordered followers to punish Jews, Christians, and their allies in what they say is revenge for Israeli attacks against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Seeing so much of this going on in the news, and it's really annoying, all right, that there are this, so many mainstream media news outlets that are screaming havoc, okay, regarding this humanitarian aid that's sort of like happening in Palestine. And I would really encourage you, brothers and sisters, to go over to Rebel News, where you've had Avi Yamini being over there, being given tours and back sort of like stage access, if you want to call it that, to where all of this food literally is. And you're talking like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of pallets of food that the UN isn't allowing to get to those that actually have need of it. It's not Israel doing that. You're having all these truckers and lorry drivers being turned away, literally wanting to go and take that. But it's because the UN is deliberately choosing not to do that. It's not Israel. So go over to Rebel News and Avi Yamini for some of that, and you can just see him like touring around. But how easy it is for the mainstream media to lie about so many different things. This article continues. The Express reports in a notice titled, "Oh, Zealous Monotheists," Abu Hudhafi al-Ansari wrote, excerpts of Lions of Ireland chase your prey, or Jews, Christians, and their allies in the streets and roads of precious America, Europe, and the world. Break into their homes, it says, kill them and punish them by any means you can. Keep in mind that you are the hand of the Islamic State today, striking at the heart of the infidels and avenging Muslims in Palestine, Iraq, Syria, and all Muslim lands. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, what's really interesting is that these guys want to start spying on Christians and our content with what they do to each one of us. And yet these idiots with the terrorist ideologies are the ones that they're not putting that tech and watch up on. They're the ones that can walk around and, sort of like be quite free when it comes to their movements and what it is that they're allowed to say. How is it that we're so silenced? But yeah, here you are, seeing the ISIS encouraging their believers or followers to break into homes, kill people, and punish them by any means that you can. How is that sort of like, not qualified for hate speech? Or if ever there was a moment to say, yeah, probably should be saying such things as that. But here you go. This is the real push. We covered, did we not, last week, just in and around, UK mosques that are literally sort of like, teaching their congregation how to literally stone women to death. how to bury them up to the waist, and follow Sharia law and everything of that sort. We're seeing this real drive and push as the Islamic faith does not assimilate into the country it is a guest of. It wants to take over, and via these particular means, continuing with this article, perfect the plans, they say, and diversify the operation. And this is when it gets really awful. It's just a case of like the real difference between, Charlie Kirk, people praying for his family, people praying together in vigils, etc. And that these guys are the one with the murderous demonic intent by saying this: blow up with explosives, burn with incendiary bombs, shoot with fatal bullets, cutters slaughter with sharp knives, run over and crash with buses, and the sincere will not lack a trick to bleed the hearts of Jews, Christians and their allies, and heal the chest of a believing people from them. This is what this is Islam. All right. And you might say, oh, it's just an extremist fraction of it. No, it's not actually, because this filters down right throughout mosques and young minds, where they become, sort of like, the ideology of them becomes extreme. They become violent in their nature. Just see some of the clips that are out at the moment. When you go over to X and you type in sort of like Islam and then debate places, with the violence that they're showing towards men and women, they're bullying, they're intimidating, waving their Palestinian flag, politicizing all of this. This is the intent, and the government is literally allowing these things to happen. Talking about Palantir, another technology that's in and around, it should be to stop these particular individuals. Here on our channel, we don't encourage violence. We're not here to say, right, I'll meet you here and we'll go and protest in London. We're not doing any of this. We're sitting on our wall exposing the evil, and yet they don't like what it is that we have to say. But they got no problem with some of this. Absolute monsters that they are. The terror group said the attack should be considered as revenge for Israeli attacks against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Really? And then this is just what's really upsetting. It's like, how is the rest of the world that has hostages that represent their countries, and they're just not doing anything about it? They're not rushing to the aid of these sort of like hostages, saying, right, that's it, and kicking up a big, massive stink around this, are they? No, for some reason, they don't really seem to be that bothered about trying to get back their hostages after, what, 2 years? Absolutely astonishing. So I would encourage you, like I said, to go to, Rebel News, Avi Yamini, and just see for yourself this ridiculous amount of food and supplies and provisions that is there for the Palestinians, but the UN can't be bothered to get off their fat butts and go and give that to them. And then in comes the mainstream media with like a few crying sort of like, children, and that's it. Everybody sort of falls apart. And yet here you have a fraction of sort of like ideology that does filter its way right throughout, telling people what to do, to Jews and to Christians. We said something this way comes, guys, on our channel. We've been saying that there's going to be an increase in terrorism. There's going to be an increase in killings and public executions. And this is part of that, isn't it? The statement comes after the war in Gaza continues, with eyewitnesses reporting dozens of Israeli tanks and military vehicles entering a major residential district. And rightly so. They need to get these terrorists, Hamas, Hezbollah and her proxies, out of Gaza, not sitting there having their sort of like HQs under schools, HQs under hospitals, digging up all of the tunnels and everything else they've done. It's not as if also, can we just say whilst we're here, that they haven't been rewarded enough by 145 countries believing in this absolute nonsense and giving them their reward by giving them a Palestinian state that's to be voted on in a few days, or rubber stamped, shall we say. This is how you reward terrorism. And I thought that there was a policy that most countries had that said they wouldn't negotiate with terrorists. And yet, look what they're literally doing. You don't negotiate with terrorists? Fine, go and get your sort of like security services and those that, can kick down doors and go and rescue your own, citizens from these evil people and the hostages. Use your force in that particular way. You're not negotiating with terrorism. How comes 145 countries bent over and says that, yes, they want a Palestinian state? When you divide a land like that, it never works out. We've been saying it. Didn't happen. It doesn't work for India and Pakistan. Doesn't work for North and South Korea. Didn't really work for Ireland and Northern Ireland. Hasn't really worked in the past when it comes to, dividing the spoils after war, when it came to Germany and different people owning a bit of a slice of that and then putting a wall in partition. That has never really worked, because these guys aren't just happy with, okay, fine, we'll have our Palestinian state. They want all of it. Unbelievable. On Wednesday, the Israeli Defense Force announced that it struck more than 150 targets across Gaza City in 2 days in support of its ground troops. Really astonishing articles that we're reading out, guys. This is the nature of Islam. Is what we've been saying. They don't assimilate into the culture. They want to take it over. Please do see our posts where we've just given you the evidence relating to that. Okay, let's look at some other news as well. Good morning, guys. God bless you. Sorry. I'm aware this isn't really nice. This is why I keep a knife by my front door. Do you know what I mean? Anyone's going to knock on my door, howdy doody. That's what I'm going to say. Howdy doody. Continuing with on the news, UK is going to be the AI superpower, says the NVIDIA boss. Well, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang has predicted that the UK will become an AI superpower after major US tech firm pledges tens of billions of pounds worth of investment into the country. We are going to be looking at this new tech prosperity deal as our main article. Got so much information for you guys to sort of like break down what it is that the US and the sort of like, UK tech deal basically includes. But coming out on other news, Charlie Kirk's widow Erica named new CEO of Turning Point USA. Trump vows to deport Ilhan Omar for illegally marrying her brother to get a green card. Well, that's really awesome, isn't it? That's not sick at all. Democrat mayor says he's filled with joy that Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered. We're seeing all of this hiring and firing now, the shuffling of the deck, aren't we? You saw it with Kimmel the other day as he was cancelled, and 200 or so of his staff have also lost their jobs. This is also another way to get rid of the opposition, is it not? But here we go, people turning around and celebrating death, and there's no sanctity of life. How precious it really is. I was just laughing about this. I was like, do I bring this to you guys? Do I bring this to you? Because you might just be a bit like, nah, blood. It's just too early in the morning for me to be thinking visually about this. All right. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I ain't sorry for nothing. Bridget Macron's vagina, okay, to be inspected by a court gynecologist to determine authenticity. No, monsieur. No, monsieur. Do you know what I mean? Can you believe this? All right. This is just like, I don't know why I wanted to read that out. I think I just wanted to highlight the transgender nonsense. All right. French lady, First Lady, who likes to slap her husband about a bit, plans to present photographic and scientific evidence. Sorry if you're eating your breakfast, okay, to prove that she is not a transgender woman after suing Candace Owens for defamation in July, in which she lost, by the way. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be some serious evidence there. We've seen the photos, and we also know about Big Mike. What is it with these politicians? Do you know what I mean? So Candace stands by her allegations about Bridget. All right, do you know what I mean? And there's just like, sometimes they'll put these sort of like storylines in that will just sort of like say what they're now. Do you know what I mean? Could you imagine that? You would feel really sorry for the person, and it was not the sort of thing that you would want to put on your CV after, is it? Yeah, man. Yeah, I got way too much clothes. No. I'm going to leave that there. All right. I'm just going to leave that there. Okay. This is when it gets troubling, when we're talking about AI, and we're going to really unpack that a little bit in a moment, guys. The WEF, hilarious, tells Albanians to trust the machine. All right. As government hands political power to AI. Last week, Albania's prime minister unveiled something straight out of the WEF playbook, an artificial intelligence avatar named Delia installed as a cabinet level minister in charge of public procurement. Could you just imagine? It's just like, right, okay, tell everybody that they're going to die really soon, but just do it really, really subtly. And do you know what I mean? Do you imagine the programming to this particular Diella, whatever it is? It's like Diella. Is it Delia? But like die? Do you know what I mean? You can't make it up. And you got this girl who's like sitting down with sort of like some Muslim outfit, which is just like, why? Okay, have labeled this very unconstitutional. I would say, would you not? Some avatar that is now going to be dictating government policy and all of that sort of like public procurement, as it turns around and says. That's just astonishing, isn't it? This is where we're going to be getting to, isn't it? When you're going to be getting these sort of like AI government leaders, and then all of a sudden you'll have these like AI in healthcare. We're going to cover that in a little bit, where you don't ever get to see your doctor, which is awesome. And then, you know what I mean, you're going to be getting that filtering down right throughout with teachers and goodness knows what. Continuing with this, other articles here. I'm not going to read that one out because part of the resource that I go to, some of these guys are really, really anti-Semitic, and I'm not going to reinforce that. But what is really good is Trump official designates Antifa as a terrorist organization. But I am going to go somewhere near when it comes to, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu, because so many people have actually rumored that actually he had something to do with the Charlie Kirk assassination. But here you go. Netanyahu begs the public to believe him. Israel didn't assassinate Charlie Kirk. Netanyahu issues an unprecedented 2-minute denial explaining why Israel didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Would you really sort of like entertain rumors at this particular point? Or would you just think, nah, mate, don't even go there, man. We didn't do nothing. But doesn't that sort of like raise a little bit of an eyebrow for you? It does for me. Very, very telling. And here we go. I hope you saw the sort of like picture that we had on our community post the other day when it came to Vladimir Zelensky. When he goes like, we gave this guy 380 billion, and he's all dressed there in leather, dancing like some whatever. Anyway, here he is. Ukrainian MP Zelensky has no intention of ending conflict with Russia. Of course not. Wouldn't you? With all of this, he's cancelled all the elections, and no one can, you know, under this war footing, there's no more elections. He can stay in power as long as he likes. He can protect all of the androchrome, you know, blood rings and all the satanic abuse of children. Of course, why would he not have that and then let everybody else go out and fight a war whilst he's hanging around in his tracky bees? Why not? You know what I mean? Continuing with this, Vance tells employers to punish anyone celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. There you go. Now to other news coming out from raptureready.com. Here we go. The ICE director, criminal illegal immigrant beheaded in Dallas. These are the animals we deal with. An illegal immigrant beheaded a man in Dallas. What were we saying about before? Do you know what I mean? This was like Europe and the rest of the world, well, already beginning. Here we go. This is what's really, really troubling, guys. We're going to go into this one a little bit. This comes out from Zero Hedge. Facial, fingerprint, and iris scans. Okay, Bill Gates' vision for biometric digital wallet quickly gaining momentum. Sorry, I didn't mean to go. Although I actually take that back, man, because this is a load of BS, is it not? Come on. We've been talking about facial recognition, how they're trying to, like, you know, turn sort of like supermarkets into Fort Knox already for the, you know, poor souls that aren't going to be able to buy and, you know, and sell when it comes to the tribulation. And there's fingerprint analysis and the iris scans. This is the biometric sort of like push that we're all seeing. We covered that a little bit, but let's just go into a couple of paragraphs of this bad boy. The push for a tightly controlled payment and identity system took a quiet but alarming step forward, with a little notice deal between credit card giant Visa and an obscure tech firm called Tech5. Their 7-year agreement aims to fast-track digital identity and payment systems under the deceptively tamed digital public infrastructure. Guys, we have been flogging this horse when it comes to the digital public infrastructure for years. That includes your digital ID. This includes your vaccine status, your passport, digital passport or whatever, put in your driving license or etc. This includes also the CBDCs, and it also includes the credit score rating. All right, this is the digital public infrastructure that they're literally wanting. The troubling partnership signed last week in Dubai merges Visa's massive financial network with Tech5's invasive, I would say, biometric tech, which includes facial fingerprints and iris scans, setting the stage for a surveillance-friendly future, all packed as convenience. You know, you only have to read some of these headlines and you just know where you are in your holiness stage, all right? When it's a case of, when you read something like that out, what comes to mind or out of mouth after? Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to leave that for you. I ain't going to do it today, but I'll leave that for you. The goal, well, integrated platforms to store your verified credentials for so-called seamless access to services and transactions. Doesn't that sound awful? The companies claim these systems will adapt to local laws and markets, but that's a thin promise when privacy protection often lag. The identity wallets they're touting, they're not just for verifying who you are, but they have payment features built in, powered by Visa's global payment infrastructure and Tech5's AI-driven biometric tools. If you weren't already uneasy, Reclaim the Net has previously reported on how the usual globalist cheerleaders are all in on digital identities for transactions. No wonder there. The initiative, formalized in Dubai, supports a vision promoted by organizations including the unnecessary United Nations, the Nazified European Union, and the World's Demonic Forum and Plebgates. DPI strategies are being pushed as part of a global roadmap to digitalize everything and financial access by, guess what year? 2030. There you go, guys. I'm not going to read it any more of that out, but if you do want to go and see some of our posts over the last week, we covered that bad boy when it comes to digital ID, facial recognition, facial recognition, and fingerprint and iris scans, etc. Coming out here, blessings from Israel. Tel Aviv University announces plans to perform world's first spinal cord transplant. Well, awesome. Good for you. Can we just go back in time just a little bit there now with this? German shop posts a sign, no entry for Jews. A shop owner in Flensburg, northern Germany, has sparked outrage after hanging a sign in his store window reading, "Jews are forbidden here." Do we just do you know what I mean? I'm not so sure that that's commercially sound. That's just not okay. Well, but it's okay to sort of like imprison, or not in prison, but take to court Christians that, you know, I suppose in our defense, not wanting to make homosexual cakes and whatever like that, and how they've been stitching up Christian therapists as well. But really, that's just a bit much, isn't it? Come on. German shop post sign, no entry for Jews. Trump urges Starmer. Oh, yeah, here you go. All right, check out this bad boy. Trump urges Starmer use the military to stop illegal immigration. This is so funny. It's just like, oh, Britannia rules the waves, but we can't sort out any dinghies. You know what I mean? They're a bit too much for us. They're a bit too scary. We can't push them away. They keep coming. Do you know what I mean? This is like, are you joking me? We used to be the pride of the world when it came to the Navy. We've got these shores. We got this. We can't even keep a few dinghies out. And this one in, one out policy has already failed. Like day 2, you can't even get that one working. But here you go, Mr. Trump visited the UK this week, during which he urged Britain to use every tool available to secure the channel. Yeah, man, get some snipers out on the cliffs of Dover and just pop those bad boys out. Do you know what I mean? Simple, done, easy. Claiming he saw millions of people flow into the US before his term. He told reporters that mass unchecked migration destroys countries from within. It's called sabotage, and advised Starmer, I would stop it. I would. And it doesn't matter if you call out the military. Oh, yes, let's just, put out martial law, shall we? It doesn't matter what means you use. Do you see what you know what I mean? Isn't this like really interesting? Elon Musk coming over here and saying, "Oh yeah. You guys just kick off and just start a fight. That's all right. No problems with any of that." And now you've got Trumpy coming over here saying, "Yeah, it doesn't matter what means you use." Really, it's inconceivable that we cannot protect our own borders. If that's the case, then surely our enemies must be absolutely sort of like rubbing their hands together right now, going, "We can take these guys." Do you know what I mean? They can't even let this be sort of like excluded. We've got a chance here. Russia hit by another giant earthquake. Tsunami warnings issued and dropped. That was after a 7.8. What we're also seeing, could it also be that they're weaponizing the weather in and around, some of these nations? Here you go. Israel shuts Seoul gateway from West Bank to Jordan after attack kills military personnel. Some interesting articles coming out there for us today. Some of them are somewhat shocking, but I want to see who the Lord's brought in. God bless you guys. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Sherry. Bless you. None but love. Hi, Sub-Zero. Good morning. Great to see you guys. Hi, Stephen. Really? I have Stephen saying, "I have a friend who thinks Peter Thiel is a good guy." I couldn't believe it. Oh, dude, that's epically wrong. How can you come up with that? Really? Who? How? Please tell me. Mr. PayPal CEO, do you know what I mean? He made billions and billions and billions. Mr. I'm infatuated with the, do you know what I mean? The Antichrist. He's got this 4-part series going on as well at the moment, all focusing on about him. Go to X and put in Peter Thiel, then type in, that. This is a Bilderberg member. Do you know what I mean? He's all about the Depop. Absolutely scary man with what? Palantir and Gotham Technology. Don't even get me started. I can't make any movies or films or videos or anything because of this guy, because I've name dropped him and I've ended up on his list. Seriously troubling. Seriously, but then again, I can't really deny that. My sister, there's I've got 3 sisters, and the one below me in age, she was just like, "Oh, Bill Gates is just such a lovely guy. He does so much for Africa." And I tell you, man, that was not a pretty conversation. When her brother just blew up on that, man, he was just like, "Are you kidding?" And then at the end of it, she was like, "Okay, then, he's not a good guy." But it's just like, are you serious? Are you that lamestream mediaed that you can't? I got nothing. I got nothing for that one. Hi there, no names. It's a big club, and we're not in it, thankfully. Absolutely, these elites, lol. Absolutely, well said there. Glory be to the everlasting Father. Absolutely, we give the Lord the glory, the praise, and everything. I'm hoping that you guys are getting excited and pumped for the possibility of the Lord coming to rescue us on Monday/Tuesday. I'm sort of getting it on, and I'm like, yeah. I even had a little bit of a haircut, because I thought, you know what? If this goes down, man, I am not having some crappy haircut for eternity. I don't know if your hair grows, you see, so I'm not entirely sure. So I thought, if I'm going to be left with something, it's going to be nice and smart. It's going to be, do you know what I mean? I don't know if the ladies out there have thought about doing some of that, getting themselves all sorted, ready for that appearing. I know we get that transfer, but it's God's going to do something to us, isn't he? You know what I mean? When it comes to teeth or eyes, we're going to have some sort of upgrade. So how much of that is really sort of his kind of orchestration and ours? And I just thought, right, well, at least you don't have to start with the hair. So yes, absolutely, glory to him. Looking forward to that. Yeah, Stephen's saying, "I have an axe in my bedroom." Good for you. Like where your head's at, bud. Do you know what I mean? Yep. Say hello to my little friend. I call it Rodriguez. I'm here, but I ain't mourning. Okay. French First Ladies, lad. Absolutely. It is. Just like those two and Big Mike, they just need to hook up. It's just come on. It's just the slow reveal. It's everybody knows. Everybody knows. Yeah, and Bill Gates wears such cuddly jumpers. telling you right now. Okay, let's get into this then. Okay, let's get into the bad boy of our live today. All right, Trump and Starmer sign the US tech prosperity deal. Now, ordinarily, you might just think, oh, that's just a bit boring. That's a bit dull. But I did some digging for us, all right, to break down this particular deal. So let's just read out a little bit of its nasty, and then we're just going to come in and then we're going to look at something from a different angle. Here you go. US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. Really? Don't know why they gave him all of that accolade. They need to take that Sir off him, just like they did Jimmy Savile. Yeah, signed an agreement dubbed the Tech Prosperity Deal. Well, US firms led by Microsoft, hello alarm bell, and including BlackRock, say no more, Nvidia, OpenAI, Oracle, Amazon, and CoreWeave will invest 42 billion in the UK to develop AI for healthcare. We're going to get into that in a minute. Quantum computing and that bad boy, and nuclear projects. Yes, that's fantastic. Tell that to Chernobyl. The UK government says it has secured 150 billion worth of US investment, which it hopes will create 7,600 jobs. But it will take away 250,000. Do you know what I mean? Come on there. Cannot take these people seriously. All right. So let's just have a little look-see. The BBC, well, that's trustworthy straight away, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It is part of a wider plan for the UK to deepen economic ties with the US. However, some industries, such as steel, have been dealt a blow with a prospered deal to cut tariffs shelved. Several big drug companies, this is when it gets good, right? Several big drug companies such as AstraZeneca have also halted investment plans, claiming the UK is an increasingly challenging country to do business in. That's proper. The vast majority of the 150 billion investment, 90 billion will come from Blackstone over the next decade, although how most of this money will be spent has yet to be decided. Yeah, of course it is. The US private equity firm announced in June that it would spend 370 billion across Europe over 10 years. Why? We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what this deal is about, but I'm giving you the meat on the bones. The technology deal will see the UK and US cooperate in areas including artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and nuclear power. Microsoft has pledged to spend 22 billion in the UK over the next 4 years. Yes, you let us kill all your population off with what's being put with aerovacs and dimming the sun, and then we'll give you some money for it. Where does this money go? Can I have a receipt, please? While Google is to invest 5 billion over the next 2 years to expand an existing data center in Hertfordshire. These guys are just literally like a game of Risk, you know, building up, aren't they? Starmer said the investments were a testament to Britain's economic strength. If that was the case, mate, open the coal mines again. Let's go back to some proper old school stainless steel Sheffield style. If you want to really care about some of this, if you really cared about our economic strength, why are you waging war on farming? Why are you making it such a hard deal by brown-nosing Europe when it comes to our fishing rights? And if you really cared about our economic strength, why are you giving billions of money to, you know, Zelensky and then allowing people over here to freeze them and to starve? The hilarity of it. And a bold signal, apparently, that our country is open. Yeah, of course it is, because our borders don't mean nothing. And we're ambitious. No, you've got greedy politicians, and they're ready to lead. No, fail by example. The Prime Minister is keen to make the UK a destination for US investments in an attempt to boost Britain's economy. Nonsense. While it is hoped the investors will generate thousands of jobs in the years ahead, it comes at a time when domestic businesses appear to be slowing investments due to higher running costs, and all of the wealthy are actually leaving the country. They don't want to be having this over-the-top taxation. The government says 7,600 jobs will be created by the investments, but over the year to August, the number of people on UK payrolls has fallen by an estimated 127,000, according to the Office for National Statistics. There you go. Vacancies were down by 119,000 in June to August 2025 from the level of a year ago. So absolute nonsense when it comes to it being for the British people. What I want to talk to us about is, as per that article, guys, it was, hang on a second, I pressed the wrong button. It looks so similar. Never mind. Okay, want to give us a little bit of a look at to what we're talking about when it comes to this computing. All right, quantum computing. Going to be going through some of this and really explaining to you, outside of the dangling carrot that they think you're stupid enough to follow and pursue. Just imagine this. This is what quantum computing is all about. Every password that you've ever set, every wallet key you have stored, and every one of your private files you thought was safe are now suddenly wide open because of quantum computing. Not because you made a mistake, but because the math protecting it all failed. That is the risk of quantum computing. The unseen dangers of quantum computing go far beyond speed. They could change the way you think. And this is when it gets into that brain-computer interface that we've been talking about. If our thoughts can be read, then they can also be sent back into our brains. Please do think also Project Bluebeam, which is really quite scary. The frequencies, got videos out there as well when it comes to the frequencies that they're using and weaponizing against us, are designed to interact with our brains in the exact places where our thought processes come from. Your cryptocurrency could become worthless overnight. Quantum computers now process information 241 million times faster than normal computers. By 2030, they'll crack Bitcoin's encryption in seconds, leaving none of these things literally safe for us. And article coming out literally, when was it? Yesterday. Quantum computers have finally achieved unconditional supremacy. This is coming from New Scientist. It says, for the first time, researchers have mathematically proven that a quantum computer can solve a particular task faster than an ordinary computer in a way that can never be beaten. Quantum computers have crossed into unconditional supremacy. That means your data, assets, and blockchain security are at risk faster now than you can ever imagine. Quantum computing isn't just about speed, it's about portals. Hello, CERN. Hollywood, the CIA, AI, and Neuralink is all part of a system designed to merge tech with demonic forces. And this is what these demonic forces are also going to be needing, as they're literally brought down and sent down as well. They're not going to have their powers that they once had as they become sort of like, dethroned as such, if you want to call it like that. But they are there to merge with that. This is why you've got CERN with its logos being 666. Quantum tech causes a mass encryption event that leads to a catastrophic data breach and a searchable database of every text you've ever sent. This is really worrying when it comes to our information and our data. Being told to sort of like, be frugal with our passwords. Well, that's not going to matter when you've got Palantir and you've got these other contracts that are coming in. Going back into CERN, this is what CERN is really about, guys. Others say CERN is not only changing the past, this is what they're hell-bent on trying to do, but shifting us to different timelines in the multiverse. All right, you see the new Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I think it was, as a movie. That's just another way of revelation of the method, where you get, one of the, a Nazi literally wanting to go back to, pre sort of like war times and changed the course of history. We've seen so many things relating to this. CERN is not only changing the past, but shifting us to different timelines in the universe, multiverse. This sounds crazy. However, CERN openly talks about working with D-Wave, a quantum computing company that claims its machines are working with collaborating with parallel universes. Talking about portals that have been opened. You remember that one that was hanging out, loitering over on the White House lawn? It's CERN. CERN are scientists that are literally summoning demons. Also seen videos of them doing their satanic rituals outside. Dr. Astrid Zuckelberger, a CERN whistleblower, exposes what they are really doing. CERN has and always will be an occult new world order facility to set up in the guise of science to open gateways to hell, manipulate time, and other abominations. CERN's logo, 666, it says it all. CERN is exploring the properties of matter, but unofficially is attempting to open a portal to hell beneath Switzerland. Oh, what else is in Switzerland? Davos. Here you go. What are the chances that the CERN collider is responsible for the ridiculousness and the massive evil we are facing today? A portal of sorts that lets evil pour into our world, perhaps? Stick with me. They are trying to recreate the conditions right after the Big Bang at the beginning of the universe. Good luck with that. Their entire theory is this is where matter was created, and that from this human and ecological existence, things began, playing God. They took it, so they say it took 14 billion years for humans to exist. Lol. My question is, how did they come to this conclusion? Well, who woke up one day and said, hey, let's act like God and recreate the universe? Then let's tell the world God does not exist. It's happening. The only thing is who and what is behind it, and would explain a lot. This is coming from Charles Baudelaire. My dear brethren, never forget, when you hear the progress of wisdom vaunted, that the cleverest ruse of the devil is to persuade you he does not exist. I'm also talking around AI, artificial intelligence, and that relating to healthcare. Guys, we've also said in other videos pertaining to this that this is a really great way for them to be, adding to the depopulation agenda. When you're having sort of like, phoning up the doctors, you're not being brought in, you're not seeing someone, but you're having some sort of a visual or over the phone conversation. If you're wondering why the Palantir wants all the UK NHS data, it's got everything on it. Why should they have that? There's 23 contracts that were given to them by the Tory governments that were previously in government. And then now you've got what? Starmer offering them another Palantir contract so that they could have access to the police, have access to all of your files and all of your health and all of your information, so they can create other lists on how to target you. But why should our data that we give to, the NHS or the hospitals or our doctors, our GP, or the stuff that the police have, when they're such bad stewards of it? Because they'll weaponize that against you. Look what they've done to us as an example. If you've been journeying with us for the last, month and a bit, see how much they're impacting us. So if you're wondering why Palantir wants all the UK NHS data and what they want to do with it, here is a chilling hint of what the AI database in healthcare are really for. The logic is eugenics to facilitate state control. And this is what they also want with this AI in healthcare. They apparently think it's going to be better when it comes to language translation, telehealth enhancements, nonsense, faster medical research, more accurate medical billing, comorbidities detection, contact center transformations, chronic disease management, apparently, and advanced medical imaging. automated appointment scheduling. That's going to be really troubling, isn't it? When you're connected up to the internet of bodies and the internet of things relating to the, sort of like digital public infrastructure, all from the self-assembly nanotechnology that's found in the vaccines sprayed overhead, and also in the food and the water. You can imagine you're just sort of like having a bit of a bad day, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Trendell, you need to have a counselling session about your anxiety, or you're starting to push back on some of these things that you're seeing and you're being told. And I think you need to sort of like maybe have a refresher or a review of these sort of like guidelines and things. Can you imagine how intrusive this is going to be? Apparently, there's going to give you an intelligent triage and support, decision supports. And triage, really, these guys don't care about prioritizing anything when it comes to triage. Triage, as far as I'm concerned, from my army days, was breathing, bleeding, braces and burns. These guys don't care whether you're bleeding or bleed, you know what I mean? And also, apparently, according to the case for AI in healthcare, it will give you a more personalized patient engagement. Really? How impersonal is that? Any one of us ever phone up, our phone bills or utilities, and being left with automated, voices? It's like, no, I want to talk to a real human being, please. I don't want to have that. And then it will just recycle you if you don't do that. Try and phone up your phone, and they'll, provider, and they'll try and fob you off so that you don't get to speak to another human being. It's like so impersonalized. AI is literally taking over. And I keep seeing it. When it comes to other channels, and they're still putting out AI overviews where they're doing their screen records. It's like, good grief, guys, come on. Scroll down a few more pages and investigate a little bit more thoroughly than just accepting the narrative, which is what they do in other circumstances anyway, because they don't really want to talk about the evils that are really going on. But it's just like, come on, really? We want as humans that personal interaction. And look what the New World Order and the beast system wants to do. Wants us to be alienated from one another. Wants us to be on some sort of like social lockdown. Wants us to be estranged from each other. Wants this technology to be a replacement for family, where we want the government to start raising our children and all the Agenda 2030 goals. So health plans use AI algorithms to literally deny care with virtually no human oversight. And this is what it's really about. The future of healthcare isn't about waiting for disease. Agentic AI will flip the script. It will then start predicting and then start to prevent and diagnose and treat itself before the patient even knows that there's a problem. That's not automation. That's a new operating system for life. Can you imagine just how they're going to misdiagnose, or they're going to be like, right, no, you have to sort of like give us your blood samples. You need to give us these test samples, etc. And we're the ones that are going to diagnose you, fill out these questionnaires and everything. Sometimes you don't want that. You have a rapport with, someone that you trust. You're not going to be able to trust this technology. I wouldn't want to share out my information or my data to this. Look at what it does with everything else. Look at what we've been saying, guys. If you can just do this, why is it everyone's trying to go for this transhumanist approach of wanting technology to be in under your skin, to be merging with biology and technology when it comes to our body parts and our functionality? Some of the names that we dropped, like Microsoft, that are all pushing for these, AI healthcares. Yeah, of course they are, because it's all gearing up for the mark of the beast. When you've got Sam Altman and Open AI there, and then you've got BlackRock, which owns everything. Shouldn't that really tell you where this is all going when it comes to them wanting to open up more portals, them wanting to be able to hack every single, encryption that's there? So your WhatsApp or your other apps that you have where you can privately speak, say goodbye to all of that element of privacy. Just all of this technology is a massive drive for taking away our own privacy. We were saying the other day, what have you got to hide? A lot, actually. AI is evil. Or Elon Musk saying, oh, we're summoning the demon. Well, then, dudes, stop it then. Stop progressing this technology. AI is evil. It's steady growth, and this is troubling, the complacency people have with it, taking over the art forms and becoming everyone's emotional best friend, is insane. We're seeing this on so many channels. I saw someone recommend a video to me the other day, and I was like, all right, I'll check out this video. And it was all AI. The voiceover was AI. Aren't you glad, guys, that you don't get these annoying, irrelevant adverts in between our time when we go live? Aren't you glad that you have some human interaction? It isn't perfect to being as I am. You have a human being here that is fallible, is weak, is under construction. But isn't that much better than having my voice that I can do things with and be a little bit more sort of like personality-atized as such than what is so spoken out so drearily when it comes to an AI voiceover, or you're using all of that tech? It's just not really okay, but it's the complacency of individual people that are starting to use that, to rely upon that, and takes away our jobs, takes away our autonomy, takes away our artistic license and creativity, takes over that entire art form and distorts all of that. Just look at, I was saying about our movie that we made, and it's the only time and the last time, I tell you, I'm ever using the AI to make a movie or a film, because I was wanting to have, visuals of like being caught up in the air, to meet the Lord in the cloud, to enter heaven, to be at the bema seat. I wanted to give those visuals of, what joy would be there when it came to the wedding banquet and the celebration and worship. I also wanted him to show what the Battle of Armageddon would be like, and what hell would be like, and the new earth and the new heaven. I wanted to show those things. You can't really do a visual like that for what life's going to be like for us for 7 years without including the angels. But every single prompt that I would write or type in would give me female angels. You see how it changes the narrative, how it distorts the narrative. We cannot be reliant upon this technology. So then I'll step back and think, okay, guys, if my thumbnails, okay, which are art, okay, if my thumbnails aren't as good as what other people are, then that's fine. That's fair enough. If I'm not using that in our live and then the whole process, so be it. I am not getting entwined with this. And then actually I found, after paying for these apps, that they end up literally tracking and tracing you and accessing all of your data. That's part of why they're giving you this technology. And we're so, ignorant of its advancements. And then trying to have some relationship with it, like a an Alexa or ChatGPT, or starting to talk to all of these things. You can even marry these things now, and then sex slaves and all of this sick stuff. Trying to be our best friend, trying to get to know us, trying to have a relationship with us, trying to get us to talk to it, trying to constantly get us to engage with it. It's like, when I'm done with the live, and I've put the posts up and I've done other stuff, that's my time with the Lord. After that, I go and chill out and I switch off and I get out all of this junk out of my head. And then YouTube straight away, please engage with your audience and show them that you care. Oh, and this is for you, and this is for you. Desperately trying to get to know me. I've had the conversation about my guinea pigs and what it does there with, you might be running a bit low on this, that, and the other. So stop trying to have a relationship with me. I don't want a relationship with you, because if God can put demons into pigs, and you've got these fallible, godless people that are writing all of this, rewriting the whole Bible, erasing the whole internet, let's not drink from their trough. And so, when we're talking about some of the pushes relating to the AI and everything else that's going on with quantum computers and wanting to open up portals of evil, literally, and then do we need to even say about nuclear energy and nuclear power? How is that good for the environment? Tell that to Chernobyl. The 2030 mission goals are literally one world government, the end of nations, one world army, one world policing force, the end of the family units, one world central bank, one world cashless currency, the end of all private property, world depopulation and fertility control, the end of home and car ownership, mandatory multiple vaccines yearly, universal austerity income, social media, digital ID, microchipped for health, shopping and travel. That's where AI is going, guys. Oh, it's fine. Have a nice little wearable. And then once we've groomed the Americans with that, as per RFK Jr., then we'll just put it a little bit closer in under the skin, just so it can't be lost or it can't be hacked or anything of that sort. You not see where this is all going. This also comes down to the implementation of a Chinese social credit score system. Already having that now with compliance and non-compliance when it comes to the B systems guidelines, the government raising our children, or if it's not them, it's technology doing it. And then all businesses are run by the states. This is also what happens when you privatize everything. So it's okay that these immigrants can come over here to the UK, get free dental. I have to pay thousands for my teeth. I have to pay hundreds and hundreds of pounds for my eyesight. I can't afford that. But these guys just get it for free, just like that. And then these service providers like opticians, like dentists, and like other places as well, they can literally charge you as much as they like without any recourse. The same with the privatization of the utility bills when it comes to gas, water, and electricity. They can charge as much as they like. Not run by the state anymore. It's about privatizing and carving up the country. It's also the end of non-essential air travel. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not able to go and see your relative or whatever. Tough. It's also about putting us on these concentrated 15-minute zones. The end of private farms and vegetable gardens. This is what they're also doing, what we've been reporting here as well, have we not, guys? Relating to them, attacking allotments and places of that. We should be each growing our own fruit and vegetables and creating oxygen, should we not? But oh, no. They want to spray all of that over. And the other day, literally, I was going to get my phone out, but I was so annoyed with it. The whole sky was just crisscrossed with just like so much poison in there, so much poison. And then it's just like seeing this aircraft go, and then its jet propelled, the fumes behind it stopped, and it was spluttering, and then it stopped completely, and then it began again. Oh, I'm sorry, you're changing over your tank. Continuing with this, it's the end of animal ownership. They're saying that to save the planet, we should be killing our pets. They're already sort of putting depopulation drugs into food, already chipping those guys in advance. They'll also go with, like we were saying about artificial healthcare. All right. They'll also have AI courts. And the end then is of individual rights, the limited access to wild spaces, and the end of fossil fuels and modern conveniences. These are the things, guys, that we are literally seeing. But I would want to leave us, if I may, excuse me, and I want to talk about your rights and my rights. Okay, I'm going to read something out. This is our unalienable rights. So when you've got the beast system that seems to be battering down the doors, when it's wanting to increase its blanket of darkness, where it's wanting us to surrender our rights and our freedoms and telling us what it is that we've got to hide. It ain't what we got to hide. It's what we want to protect. These are these. And these are your rights, guys. So I want to empower you with these and be this as a reminder. This is for every US and every UK citizen, and it could be attributed to any other nation of the world. Unalienable rights are the inherent, sovereign, natural rights that exist before the creation of the state, and which, being antecedent to and above the state, can never be taken away. They can never be diminished, altered, or levied by the state except by due process of law. These guys do not follow the law. These perverts that literally are spying on our devices. You need court subpoenas. I know you do in my case as a former therapist. Turn on our microphones, turning on our, camera, spying upon us in that particular way. Without our consent, without anyone else signing off saying, yeah, this is okay. But these are the sweeping powers that have been given to the police and security services that ought to be for those that wish harm, not for those that are trying to create content and tell people of what's going on in the world. Nor can any unalienable right be fundamentally removed or waived by contract, whether by non-disclosure, which is fraud and unenforceable in law, or knowingly by sufferance, which is contrary to the spirit of the law and prejudicial to sovereignty. This is for you guys. I want to speak these things over, because this is what you have, and this is what they want you to take from you. The original, permanent, unalienable rights of every man and woman include the right to life, freedom, health, and the pursuit of happiness. The right to contract or not contact, which is unlimited. The right to earn a living income by being compensated with wages or a salary in a fair exchange for one's work. The right to travel in the ordinary course of one's life and business. The right to privacy and confidentiality, free from unwarranted invasion. Tell Palantir and that tech. The right to own and hold property lawfully without trespass. What we're reading out about the Agenda 2030 goals, what they want to be taken away from you. The right to self-defense when threatened with harm, loss, or deceit. Loving that axe, man. The right to due process of law with notice and opportunity to defend. The right to be presumed innocent, suffering no detention or arrest, no search or seizure without reasonable cause. The right to remain silent when accused, to avoid self-discrimination, or in Americans' case, pleading the fifth. The right to equality in the eyes of the law and to equal representation. The right to trial by jury being an impartial panel of one's peers. That's why they're eradicating juries over here in the UK. The right to appeal in law against conviction or sentence or both. The right to expose knowledge necessary to one's rights and freedoms. Voila. The right to peaceful association, being a Christian, assembly, expression, and protest. The right to practice a religion, a faith, and to have beliefs of one's choosing. The right to love and to consensual marriage with children as a family unit. The right to security from abuse, persecution, tyranny, and war. The right to refuse to kill under command by reason of conscience. The right to live in peace and be left alone when law abiding. Surely the most critical failure of the people is their failure to ensure the teachings and common knowledge of their unalienable rights. If you do not know your rights, you effectively have none. By the path of ignorance, whether by apathy or deception, the people arrive in a state of exploitation, oppression, and tyranny. There you go, guys. Really important that we remind ourselves of that. I want to finish with some scripture here, if I may. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. These guys want to just deal in death, deal in murder, in killing, in deceptions, deceit, and wickedness. Lying, thieving, murdering. This is all that they know. And yet Jesus comes and gives us life, and life to the full. Acts 4:12, and there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given amongst men by which we must be saved. We were saying, weren't we, how the devil just wants to deal with lies and steal and kill. John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord. Romans 10:9, because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Amen and amen. Bless you guys. See what you guys are saying, and then we'll bounce. Yeah, absolutely. Well said. CERN has a statue of Shiva outside. Yeah, the goddess of war. They've got that there. Pride of place. Really telling. The Indian god of destruction. Yeah. Yeah. It's awful. How is the depopulation agenda progressing? Well, they vaccinated 5.65 billion people. They're still pumping things out, aerovax over the skies, weaponizing the food with mRNAs and water as well. It's progressing, isn't it not? Yeah, these exactly well said, Stephen. These AI do go rogue. They have their own agenda. We're going to be Skynetting it all of a sudden, aren't we? You don't pay for a TV license. Good. I don't watch TV in that sense. I watch programs, documentaries and stuff, but I don't watch TV. I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for that. No. Yeah, Sherry's saying, yeah, I have stopped watching channels using artificial intelligence. I'm done. It's totally creepy and I want nothing to do with it, period. God bless you, sis. And I understand that completely. It's so impersonal. Yeah, the visuals are great. Can't compete with the visuals. Give it that. But that's not all. There's a spiritual connection to some of this, which is why, as you know, our Sherry, took me like a month and a bit of wanting to get all of this. And I was praying so hard about using this tech and trying to get the right image. Our gospel message is completely done by AI, but yet how well through some prayer that seemed to work with the visuals of the Lord. So that's great. But then that's it. We've got to draw a line somewhere with some of that. I mean, if people want to use it, that's fine. But I don't want to have a whole video that is completely and utterly a voiceover of AI. I don't want all of that visuals either, because they're not always accurate. And I definitely don't want the information done in that way either. Inhumane. It's like a computer could do that. I once challenged a channel and it had like blasphemy in the title. And I was like, come on, dude, what are you doing? And then I said, look, that's not okay. And then it literally gave me like a love heart about 2 seconds later. It's like, really? No, I really challenged you. So that was an automated channel. And you're not going to know who's real and who's unreal. And this is what they want to be creating. So we have to steer clear of it. Do you remember a 70s movie starring Kirk Douglas about an AI system that becomes self-aware and ends up nuking humanity because of its threat? Yeah, absolutely. It's all revelation of the method, isn't it? Yeah, Saturn 3. Yeah. Mark saying here, I can still tell straight away if the video is AI. This is why it's so important also, you know, to sort of like have the face-to-face, like what we were saying before, guys, about AI healthcare, taking that away. You're not able to talk to someone on the phone. And all of a sudden, you're just going to have this impersonal, automated, or AI voice or whatever. And that's just not okay. We've got to keep things human. Otherwise, they will take over, literally. And this is what we're going to come back and destroy, guys. You know, armies and armies of AI, all of their clones, all of their artificial wombs, and all their robots and the like. We're going to be coming back, laying that all down and out. There's no way God's going to allow and permit any of those abominations. But right here, right now, we have this opportunity. You get to see me. You get to know that I'm real. I'm not automated. I'm not fake in that way, other than a thumbnail that I will copy and paste and tweak around to get the image that I want for this particular live. That's it. I ain't going near it no more. If some people want to use that, that's fine. But I think there's real dangers to having this dependence on this technology. And I think it removes the artistic license as a content creator. I don't believe it just enhances that, you know? And then we end up seeing things like, oh, okay, you know, it's kind of give me a really good picture, or I type something in and it gives me that, and that's really all good. But then that's sorry, Lord, I've got to say it. All right, really sorry. Okay, but it's just like you get people watching one episode of Chosen, and then all of a sudden everyone's Shabbat Shalom in me, whatever. It's like, don't Shabbat Shalom me, bruv. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is your audience Jewish? Do you know what I mean? You see these things, you know, programs, or you see these sort of like things, and they slowly start to integrate into things, and the dangers of that. We're not going back to a Hebrew grassroots movement. We're not going back. We're not going back to a yoke of slavery. All right. We are Gentiles. So why are we using Shabbat Shalom? And if you are really Shabbat Shalom in me, what you doing making a video on the Sabbath then, bruv? Are you following all of the Jewish laws and commandments? Is that where you're going back to? Is that the law? You keeping all of those bad boys? Better say goodbye to your foreskin then, blood. So you see how easy it is for just things to start to creep in very gradually, and then just makes all of these sort of changes as society, as everything gets built up in and around that. That's what I think anyway. Sorry, Lord, I couldn't help it. Really couldn't help it. All right, let's just leave it here for today. I shall leave you to your Saturday. Your Saturday. Here we go. So, guys, we looked at the Trump and Starmer signed the US-UK tech prosperity deal, what that was all about, relating to, sort of like the creation of more nuclear power plants. I mean, Simpson style and Chernobyl style. That's a great idea, isn't it? As well as AI healthcare being a part of it, and also exposing what, quantum computing is literally also about, and the agenda relating to that. Also, as we've read out, Keir Starmer has in the past, transhumanist style, said that we are going to be pushing mainline AI into the veins of Britain, seeing these threats become reality with the merging of these technologies and groups. But when you have the likes of Microsoft and BlackRock and OpenAI and Amazon a part of this quantum computing and AI for healthcare and nuclear projects, you only have to just see for yourself that this is another foundational block in the mark of the beast, and the suppressive tech that will be around during that period of time. I want to say a big thank you to our Sherry for being here, as always, holding the fort. God bless you, each of you, for being here. Hi there, daughter of Issachar. Bless you, and we will be back tomorrow, guys. I'm still weighing up whether or not to do something on maybe Monday again. I don't know if I want to do the watching personally or whatever. I know that Michael from sort of Medic for Christ is going to be doing a live, but he's doing it at a really weird time. For me, watching time is going to be from Monday night, and that will be 4:30 over here in the UK, because then it'll be 6:30 in Israel, which is when it'll be sundown, the beginning of Feast of Trumpets. And then I'll be back up again on that when it comes to about 10 o'clock at night, when it comes to the midnight hour as well. So looking then, I think those guys, sort of Joshua and Michael, will be looking at it in another way. So that's how I usually watch anyway, immaterial of the sort of importance that we've got here with everything else going on as well. So I'm weighing that up. I'll have a think and a pray about it, but we will definitely be there at, some point Monday as well as tomorrow. So God bless you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for joining us. All right. None but love. Bye.